Before the light of prophecy shone in Arabia, before the final messenger walked the earth, there lived a noble line of men, chosen, purified, and preserved. Join us on a journey through the sacred lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the Ancestors of the Prophet of Islam, a story of honor, legacy, and divine destiny.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, peace and blessings of Allah be upon you.
Abraham and his struggle against paganism. The darkness of paganism had entirely enveloped the region of Babylon, the birthplace of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. The falsely claimed gods and the heavenly and earthly false deities had bewitched the minds of various segments of society. Some of them, in their view, were considered lords of power and authority, while others were seen as means of drawing nearer to Allah. These were among the many foolish concepts prevalent in that society. Since the method of the prophets in guiding and educating humanity is through evidence and logical reasoning, because they engage with the hearts and minds of people and aim to establish a government built on faith and conviction, such a government can never be established by the sword, fire, or iron. Thus, they begin their mission through intellectual awakening. It is essential to distinguish between the types of governments that the prophets aim to establish and the governments of figures like the pharaohs and Nimrods. The goal of the latter group is leadership and authority, maintained by any means possible during their lifetime, even if that power crumbles after them. In contrast, the prophets and messengers seek to establish a government that endures in all circumstances and remains present at all times, in public, in private, in weakness and in strength, during their lives and after their deaths. They aspire to govern hearts, not bodies, and this aim can never be achieved through force, violence, or oppression. Rather, it is realized through argument and proof. The prophet, Abraham, peace be upon him, began his mission by opposing the practices of his own kin, foremost among them his father Azar, who was steeped in idolatry and the worship of statues. However, before he could fully conclude this battle or claim complete victory in that arena, he faced another front, this time with a group of people more advanced in thought and understanding than the previous one. Unlike Abraham's relatives, this group had abandoned the worship of idols and lowly earthly deities, and had instead turned to the worship and veneration of celestial bodies, stars, planets, and heavenly objects. In his theological dialogue with the worshippers of celestial bodies and his rejection of their corrupt beliefs, Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, presented a series of philosophical and scientific truths that human intellect had not reached at that time. He conveyed them in a simple yet profound manner, backed with evidence that continues to impress leading scholars, philosophers, and theologians to this day. More importantly, the Holy Quran recorded the arguments of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, with special care and profound attention. Therefore, we must pause and reflect on them.
The dialogue of Abraham with the star worshippers. One night, Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, stood at the beginning of sunset, gazing at the sky, with the intention of guiding his people. He observed the stars and celestial bodies from the onset of that evening until the sunset of the following day. During this 24-hour period, he engaged in dialogue and debate with 3 sects among the star worshippers, disproving the beliefs of each group with firm reasoning and strong arguments. When the night fell and darkness enveloped everything, concealing all features of existence and nature, the planet Venus appeared on the horizon, shimmering. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, addressing the worshippers of this planet while pretending to agree with them in order to draw them in and begin a meaningful discussion, said, "This is my Lord." But when the star set and disappeared from sight, he said, "I do not love those that disappear." With such a beautiful line of reasoning, he nullified the belief in Venus worship and exposed its emptiness and fallacy. Then he turned his gaze to the radiant moon, whose light captivates hearts. Again pretending to agree with the moon worshippers, he said, "This is my Lord." But when the hand of divine power erased the moon's light from the world of nature, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, adopted the stance of a truth seeker without offending those idolaters or hurting their feelings, and said, "If my Lord does not guide me, I will surely be among the misguided." For the moon had also disappeared, just like its predecessor. It too is subject to an inescapable higher order. Anything that is governed and disappears like this cannot be considered a true Lord worthy of worship and veneration. When the night gave way to dawn and the radiant sun swept away the curtains of darkness, casting its golden rays upon valleys and plains, the sun worshippers turned to their object of devotion. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, once more pretended to acknowledge the sun's lordship, following the norms of debate and dialogue. But the sun's eventual setting proved the invalidity of its worship as well, demonstrating its subjugation to the universal cosmic order. At that point, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, turned away from the three groups and declared, "Indeed, I have turned my face toward the one who created the heavens and the earth, inclining in devotion, and I am not of the polytheists." Surah Al-An'am 6:79. The intended audience of Ibrahim's statements were those who believed that the affairs of earthly creatures, including human beings, were delegated to celestial bodies, and that these bodies were responsible for managing and governing earthly matters. Thus, it becomes clear that Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, did not aim to address the following three theological points. 1. Establishing the existence of the Creator. 2. Affirming the oneness of God's essence, that He is unique and without an equal. 3. Affirming Tawheed al-Khaliqiyya, oneness in creation, that there is no creator but Allah.
Rather, his focus was on Tawheed ar-Rububiyyah, oneness in lordship, and divine management of the universe, that there is no sustainer, nourisher, or governor of earthly beings other than Allah, the Exalted. Therefore, upon refuting the lordship of the celestial bodies, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, said, "I have turned my face towards the one who created the heavens and the earth," meaning that the one who created the heavens and earth is also their sustainer and Lord, and that none of the affairs of the cosmos, neither wholly nor partially, have been delegated to the stars and planets. The conclusion is, the Creator and the Governor are one and the same, not that the Creator is Allah and the Governor is someone or something else. Some Quranic commentators and scholars have erred in their understanding of Ibrahim's reasoning and explanation in this debate. Some mistakenly thought that he intended to negate the divinity of the celestial bodies, the kind of divinity imagined by polytheistic nations. Others thought he aimed to negate creatorhood from them, supposing that a perfect deity might create the universe and then delegate the role of creation to other beings. However, both interpretations are flawed. The actual purpose of Al-Khalil, peace be upon him, after having already accepted the existence of a necessary being, God, his oneness, and exclusive creatorhood, was to discuss another important aspect of Tawheed in Rububiyyah, oneness in governance and lordship. In other words, he sought to prove that the creator of the cosmos is also its sustainer and Lord. His words, "I have turned my face," are the best proof of this interpretation. Hence, Ibrahim's primary focus in this dialogue was on the concept of Rabb, Lord, and Rububiyyah, lordship, particularly concerning celestial entities like the moon, Venus, and the sun. To complete the present discussion, we must explain the reasoning used by Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him. He relied, throughout the three stages of his argument, on the disappearance, setting, of these celestial bodies as evidence that they are not worthy of governing or sustaining earthly phenomena, especially human beings. Here, an important question arises. Why is the setting of these celestial bodies considered evidence against their claim to lordship? This issue can be explained in several ways, each suited to a different group of people. The goal of having a lord is to allow a weak creature to reach its full potential under the guidance of that lord. Therefore, the lord must be closely connected to the beings he is nurturing, aware of their conditions, never distant or detached from them. But how can a celestial body that disappears for long periods, leaving its so-called dependents deprived of its light and blessings, be considered a suitable lord or sustainer of earthly beings? Hence, the disappearance of a star, its absence from the earthly realm, is the best evidence that there must be another lord who is free from such limitations and imperfections. The rising and setting of celestial bodies, along with their organized motion, is clear evidence that they are all governed by a higher will. They are subject to established laws, which indicates their inherent weakness. Such weak entities cannot govern the universe or manage natural phenomena. While the earth does benefit from their light and energy, this does not prove their lordship. Rather, it proves that they are fulfilling a function decreed by a higher being. In other words, this demonstrates the harmony of the cosmos and the interconnectedness of all creation. What is the ultimate purpose of the motion of these celestial bodies? Is it to move from imperfection to perfection, or the other way around? The second possibility is irrational, and even if it were considered, it makes no sense that the Lord or governor of the universe would move from perfection towards decline and disappearance. This leaves only the first possibility, which in itself is evidence for the existence of another sustainer, one who guides these seemingly powerful celestial bodies and all beneath them, from stage to stage. This being is the true Lord, the one who leads all creation towards completion and fulfillment.
From Adam to Ibrahim, from Adnan to Abdullah, the path of prophecy was paved with purity and purpose. This was not just ancestry. It was the divine prelude to the greatest mercy sent to mankind.